This is the new optional spreadsheet method for doing your schedules. If you want to use the database, you still can. You don't have to do it this way. So just to get familiar with what this looks like, you'll notice if you scroll, there are some frozen panes on here, which just means there are columns and rows that are always visible. I scroll to the right, but we still see columns A through D. I scroll down, we still see row 1 with the headers. I just want to note this so that way when you're looking at this, you don't think that all these columns in between D and R disappeared. You just have to scroll back to see them, just like this. Yellow cells are drop downs. Gray cells get auto-populated. Some of these drop downs are dependent upon other selections. So for instance, general foreman, this list of all these general foremen are just JF. So if I were to change this to PMI, the list would change for general foreman, just PMI general foreman. When you're doing your schedule, each week we will update this on Fridays after everything gets imported or Monday mornings. So the schedule will always be ready for you to use. So today is 10/28. So you notice you got current week and then the next week. And then since it's a 2-week schedule, you need to do the week after that, 11/11. Let's say that you just want to carry over the schedule from 11/4 to 11/11. You can just copy it. So you would just highlight all this, copy, and paste, and then change the dates. I'm going to copy that date down and paste it, and then you'd be done if that's all you were doing. If you are adding in new ones, so you're not carrying over, you're adding in new ones, down here you'll see there's not a drop down, it's just blank. So you need to fill in the first cell before all the formatting carries down. So you can do that a couple different ways. You can either just take the cell above here, copy it, paste it, and then you'll notice all the formatting carried down. So now you have your drop downs and your cells that auto-populate. Or I'm going to go back, or you can just type it in. 11/11/2019, and then do it that way. Let's say you're trying to make these selections and they don't exist yet. So dodge them. Let's pretend that there's one called 3333 that you want to put in, but that's not in here yet. It'll give you an error and let you know what to do. So this tells you to go to the tab Add Jobs and add it there. So we go to this tab down here, Add Jobs, 3333, enter in any other information you can. Go back here, 3333. Now it accepts it. That'll work the same for contractor name and general foreman. So for contractor name, 3333, I'm just going to make it up. It'll tell you need to go to the tab Add Contractors if you need to add that in. So you'd find the tab Add Contractors by using these arrows to scroll around. And there it is. Or I think an easier way to do this is if you right click down here, it brings just the whole list of them here. I just think it's a little bit easier to see. So you do Add Contractors, 3333, enter in any other information that you can for that. And then you can enter it there. Same with general foreman and contractor foreman. For them, you need to find the appropriate tabs based upon if it's a general foreman, if it's a foreman, and then what company they're with. So I'm just going to pretend the name is, well, I'm just going to do Brian Snyder. If I do that, it tells me that name doesn't exist. So I need to go to let's say I was trying to enter in myself for JF. Then I need to go to GF for general foreman. If you were entering in a foreman, you would look for F and then the company name. And then GF, JF Electric. Go there, enter in the name, any other information you can. And now we can see I'm there as a selection. You can edit previous weeks that you've done. So if you needed to make adjustments to 11.4, you can, and that'll get updated in the database on Fridays. If you need to delete out records that you've done previously that are in the database, so for like 11.4 here, let's say you wanted to delete that one, you would just use this column that says delete record, type delete, and just type delete. It's going to highlight black when you do that, just so you know it's just really clear that that's a record that you're going to get rid of. And if that gets annoying, you can just filter it out up here. You can also sort this however you want. If you don't like the way it's sorted currently, you can do that yourself, or you can ask me to do it for you, and it'll always sort how it's set every week if you want that feature. If you're wanting to sort, you would just go up here. You make sure you're on the home tab in the ribbon, and then go to here, sort and filter, custom sort, and then you can add it in however you want, and you have different levels. So if you wanted to go by week starting, add a level, and then maybe contractor name and so on, you can keep doing that. You can refresh this file if you want. You don't have to. All that means is it's going to take what's currently in the database and update your file with that. Since this is not a live file, anything that's happening in the database does not get updated in the file until you tell it that you want it to. So you do that down here at this Actions tab, and then this button, Refresh All. I'm not going to use that right now because I'm not on the network. You might want to do this on Wednesdays and Thursdays when Ebony updates the iOS con buckets. Does the iOS con bucket update? So, maybe you want the dodgems updated, their statuses updated, whatnot. You would go to the Actions tab and then click Refresh All to pull in all the new information. Something to keep in mind with this, though, is if you enter in new schedule information into here, or any new information into here, you're going to lose it unless you copy this over to a separate spreadsheet so you can paste it back in, because this is only going to pull in what's currently in the database when you hit refresh. Anything that's not in there, which would be all this 11 data that we just entered, it's going to disappear. So I'll show you how to do that. You would just copy this, copy, open up a new spreadsheet, blank one, paste it, go back here, refresh, and then this would disappear, this 11 data. So I'm just going to delete it just to mimic what would happen. And then you'd want to take the data from the that we copied over here and paste it. Something to keep in mind when you are copy and pasting, uh, like how I did with the 11/11 data from all the 11/4 dates, do not copy by selecting the entire row, by clicking on these row numbers over here on the left. Do not do that. Just copy the selection like this. The reason for that is if you highlight the entire row, you can see it goes, it goes beyond the data selection here. It just keeps going. It's just going to mess up some of the formulas. So remember, do not do that. Once you get all finished with this and you want a better format to send to other people or to print, you can go down here to this Actions tab, click Create Contract or Crew Schedule. It kind of gives you I've got a little screenshot here, so it gives you just a reminder of what it looks like, because I anticipate putting new reports in this. You'd click that. It'll open up a new spreadsheet, make it look like this format that's shown here, and it'll be ready to print. You also have this Instructions tab if you need any reminders about anything. I've got it set up so there's a shortened version if you just kind of need a general rundown of what you're doing with this, or there's a more detailed version of instructions here in the green. It's got screenshots and just more descriptions. Remember to save and close this, please. If you leave it open, it locks the file, and so when we do imports or we're refreshing the files for you on Fridays or Mondays, then it'll have it locked, so I can't. So I'll probably be calling you to ask you to close it if you leave it open. So please remember, save it so you don't lose your information, and close it so that way we can do all the stuff in the background. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can set up a meeting with me if you want to do that. We can do a Skype meeting to share screen. You can call me, email me, whatever works best for you.